The All-Star break is over, and we are back with another NBA slate here on the Splash Play NBA channel. We're going to do what we always do, even though some times change. Some graphics are going to look a little bit different. We're going to look at my projections compared to some of the industry leaders out there, like Stokastic, like Unabated. We're just going to check some ownership along the way as well. We're going to check out some DFS sims, some prop betting sims as well. Again, thanks to Unabated. Check out this fancy new sticker. More about them coming up here. By this video, you know the must-plays for today's NBA slate. Let's get into it, guys. And I didn't pull up the Q tag tweet today, though we do have some important Q tags. Let me pull it up. We got Giannis as a Q tag, Lillard as a Q tag. Wrote that up for the DK Network before the show, so that's going to be your crucial one for today to watch out for the Bucks. At this point, have nobody left. Bobby Portis also suspended for about 25 games as a result of taking the wrong painkiller, is what he said. So that's looking pretty not great right now. Also, keep looking at the wrong screen. Big version. There we go. Here's our Q tag tweet. Giannis, Damian Lillard, who I mentioned, OG Anunoby, another Nick out. Josh Hart's out today. It's going to be an important one because we're going to get a lot of Karl Anthony Towns and a lot of Jalen Brunson today. Norman Powell, Andre Jackson, another Buck, opening up some minutes potentially, and Jeremy Grant. So Lakers also on a back-to-back. As you can see here, they're TBD. We'll see if they go. LeBron but supposedly couldn't play. Then he plays and has one of the better days on yesterday's one-game slate. So we'll see how it looks here. Shout out to the chat as well. Oh, Luka's just ruled out. Is that a thing? Not an underdog, right? Oh, no, there it is. Yeah, okay, never mind. You are right. Luka out. So LeBron questionable, Vanderbilt ruled out. All right, so that's changed right now. Always fun, always fun. No, I am going live. If there's a thumbnail, have no fear, I'm going live. And I appreciate the kind chats here, but let's get into it because I am starting late, making sure everything looks right and works right. How to update some stuff. You're also going to notice one thing here if you're watching the YouTube channel. If you've wondered how you can get my projections, you now can do that. Join down below. So there's 3 different tiers. One of them is $4.99. You get access to the VIP Discord there. Brand new Splash Play Discord that I just set up. Has basically tweets running in there, basketball news, a basketball channel. And in that, you can also get my projections. There's 2 versions of them, which actually I'll show you on the screen here. One, $25 a month. You get the screen that I show you on screen here every day. So basically, here's the matchups. It's going to be updated throughout the night when I pull in new data. That's what you get for $25 a month, which about half of which, because of YouTube's VIG, goes back to me. Other thing you can get is exportable versions of my projections. So here's your DK version. Here's your Underdog and FanDuel version. So if you want to get this stuff, this is going to be $50 a month. Basically, will be things you can import right away to your Underdog, to your DraftKings, to your solver, whatever you're using on there. So that's what you got for yourself here. So just check it out if you want. Join button down below. If nothing else, click join for $5. Get yourself a little avatar here on the channel. Get access to the Discord. As the main things to get here. But a great way to support the show, just in case affiliate deals dry up. Just kind of preparing myself here. And it's work that I was doing anyway. So that's what you're getting right now. But click the join button. You can see more about it all down below. It all happens pretty automatically from that point when you do join. So check it out if you want. And anybody who joins, I don't know. I appreciate it a bunch. But top projected players right now, according to my projections, number 1, Nikola Jokic. You do have Westbrook coming back in today. It does sort of impact things a little bit. Jamal Murray is a probable tag, so it doesn't matter for the slate. All these guys going here. You also don't really have value right now for Nikola Jokic. Your best value played in the slate is Elfrid Payton, and I'm currently not as sold on Elfrid Payton as some of the projection systems are. We'll talk about that when we get there. But Nikola Jokic, 6% owned for the field. I'm getting at 13% with my projection being around the same point here, 63 fantasy points. The Stokastic did not actually let me import my projections now, I'm remembering. So the sim numbers aren't going to really reflect my projection data, so keep that in mind here. It's one of the annoying things. Their sim lately has given me a lot of issues before the show, and that was the case again today. But anyway, with Jokic, with this projection, getting him about 13% of the field, or 30% of my top 150 lineups. Fields at 6%, so that's how it looks for Jokic. Biyombo, so we should talk about that. Biyombo not guaranteed to start. Biyombo also has not been actually playing backup center. It's been Jeremy Sohan playing backup center. Stokastic currently, or at least as of this morning, had Biyombo projected for 20 minutes, which is not enough to get where you need to go. So Biyombo, not really value. People will probably play him, but I don't think he's actually a valid play. If he gets to start, it'll look better. There's not really any reason to assume he's going to get to start because he has been playing backup center. But yeah, Wembanyama out for the year too, if you missed that one. Not that it particularly matters for today because you hopefully knew it already, but out for today and out for the year with a shoulder blood clot. I forget the exact, what was it, a thrombolism or something? And that's some weird word that many people hadn't heard on social media. But yeah, not good for Wemby out for the year. Biyombo maybe in the future might matter. I don't think it's going to matter for the slate. Giannis here, your number 2 guy, 60.6 for my projection right now, which is about 6 fantasy points higher than Stokastic. Stokastic did not update for Bobby Portis' suspension yet, so that is why they're a little bit lower. Basically, for Giannis overall, that was it. deep vein thrombosis, thrombosis, not thromboner. Don't get it confused. But yes, there we go. Not swollen dick, unless he has a dick growing on his shoulder, which would explain a lot. But I think we would have seen it at this point with him wearing tank tops most of his life. Anyway, Giannis looks pretty good right now. The issue is a Q tag. If Giannis and Lillard both go, I think Giannis is the better play, but they both are interesting tournament options. If Giannis is out, Lillard is going to look like a much better play. Facing a Clippers team is obviously a pace down, but at that point, you're missing Portis. You still haven't really replaced the minutes in rotation from Middleton getting traded. If Giannis is out still here, would say that for Giannis, he looks like a really strong play. Kind of suffers from the same issue as Jokic, where the price tag is hard to get to. So 11.5 salary projected for about 2% ownership by Stokastic as of their morning run of data. Karl-Anthony Towns, big play for Towns right now. I'm glad to hear this. Screen looks great on the phone. There we go. I made it a lot bigger. So that's really the goal here. And everything in life, always make it bigger if you can. Some things you can't. This we can. So Karl-Anthony Towns to me looks pretty good. Basically, the main thing for him is not having Josh Hart out there. His rates take another big jump up. Well, there's really two parts going for Towns today. Number one, playing Chicago. That's a huge thing. Number two, having Towns out, or having a Hart out rather for Towns matters quite a bit. Averaging 1.52 fantasy points a minute this year without Josh Hart on the court. And that goes along with 30% usage, 24% rebound rates. The rebound rate gets even higher for Towns. Basically, to me, you can't afford Jokic. A lot easier to get to Towns in the slate. The issue, the field's going to be playing about 50% of the time, both he and Brunson both. So Towns, to me, one of the best plays. I always like Towns. When you get Hart out, Towns looks even better, especially in a matchup against a Chicago team that plays fast and not well. So Towns, a core play today. How much you want to get, you're going to have to decide here, because if you can find a way to get to Jokic, you're probably getting pretty good leverage against Towns. But to me, hard to imagine Towns not putting up 50, whether he hits enough for a tournament-winning slate, or ceiling rather, on the slate. I can't tell you that. But I would say Towns getting you 50 to 60 feels to me like, if not a certainty, a very high likelihood. Miles Bridges, another player I'm going to have a lot higher than Stokastic today. Bridges, as we talked about enough times here, and we saw it in yesterday's game if you paid attention. I was watching the background, didn't have any action on it. But basically, Bridges went nuts in that game yesterday for most of it, in large part because he's just been a much better player without Brandon Miller. Now you get the same situation again where you have no LaMelo out there for today. He is resting. You have no Mark Williams out there again. He is also resting. Bridges has averaged 33.3% usage, 21% assist rate, 14% rebound rate, good for 1.3 fantasy points a minute at court time without those guys. It's a tough spot back-to-back for them against Denver. Never where you want to be, especially going into mile-high altitude and all that. But if they hang in this game, Bridges at 8,700 probably does break his price point again. So you guys know the deal. If you watch this show, I play Bridges a lot here. I've pointed out more than enough times. I generally don't love to play NBA players who break the faces of women. I would try to avoid that for the most part here. But for Bridges, I would say just he projects so well because not having LaMelo in, not having Miller in, those things matter a lot for him. Williams as well. It just makes it easy for Bridges to do everything on the court at that point. And also, frankly, he gets you some leverage on a potentially chalky Elfrid Payton. So that's that. Miles high Bridges for sure. I mean, look, he's going to be tired on the back-to-back. I think it's the one thing if you want to really ding him for it. But if he's going to be 1% owned, I have to get more than that. Denver plays 0 defense. I don't know that it's a flat 0, but they're certainly not good. Denver, 113.8. No, actually 114.8 defensive efficiency. Actually, technically worse than Charlotte is Denver defensively. So I guess a fair point to say they play 0 defense if you are worse than Charlotte, but definitely not good. All right, what else do we got here? We got Jalen Brunson. As I mentioned before, about 50% of the field will be there. He's projected for about 50 fantasy points and $8,400 salary today on DraftKings. So Brunson, going to be a popular play, really hard for me to avoid. The rates don't jump out quite as much as Towns. But for him, frankly, for Brunson, a guy who does get kind of lost in the sauce, the amount of guys they have, 1.4 fantasy points a minute, 34% usage, 40% assist rate, kind of becomes like last year's Jalen Brunson when you have Hart off the court. So basically Hart coming off, you expect, or I would expect, and I think the numbers would expect, Towns and Brunson be your biggest beneficiaries. They're going to be your highest owned guys, but in a spot against Chicago, you don't want to play one. I would get it. Hope the other one hits a tournament winning ceiling because the other one doesn't. But on their face, like they're both very strong plays because you don't have Hart for Brunson. It opens up more assist upside, opens up more usage, opens up more rebounding for everybody. But Brunson basically just doesn't give away the assist stuff quite as much as Josh Hart, who can create and more than enough, obviously, because he puts up triple doubles sometimes. When you take that off the court, Brunson becomes kind of the true fulcrum of that offense in terms of being a distributor and a shot creator. So Towns, those guys can do it on their own, but obviously Brunson, you expect it to be good. 50% for the field, even though I have 41% of the sim, as I mentioned before the show, it doesn't account for my actual projections right now. So I'll probably get Brunson in more lineups than not would be my guess tonight. Tatum lower, Doncic lower, Harden lower, LeBron lower. He'll come up a little bit because of having Luka out, but really these guys to me don't look like stellar plays. And LeBron too with the Q tag on him, and supposedly he was hurt, and that's why he didn't play in the All-Star game, even though I know Twitter, my For You page, had a lot of people there thinking it's LeBron being a dick as usual and his way of protesting the All-Star game and all of that. But it was odd that they would say like, okay, he's out because he's hurt the All-Star game, going to miss 2 games. Then he plays the first game back from the All-Star break. It doesn't really make sense. I would think you hold out LeBron today, but I just have no read on what his health status is, what he's trying to do right now. It's a little bit odd. That's been going lately for the Lakers. De'Aaron Fox, no Wemby here. So the one thing I would say is that if you look at the rates without Wemby on the court for the Spurs this year, Fox really doesn't gain as much as he looks in this projection. I'm going to be really mindful of playing Fox today. Izzy, I talk like this every day. It's your problem if you're not here every day and you don't know how I talk. Sorry. We got De'Aaron Fox. It's also a lot of content to cover for one person in about 45 minutes to an hour. So I do it for you as much as my own talking. Anyway, De'Aaron Fox, at this point, we got him projected fairly well. I feel a lot less good about Fox than I do about Towns, than I do about Bridges. Because basically when Wemby comes off the court, every Spurs player starts to shoot more. Chris Paul shoots more. Sohan shoots more. Vassell shoots more. Keldon Johnson shoots more. Castle's going to keep shooting the 30% he's been putting off the bench. Basically at this point, for the Spurs, you have a lot of guys you can go to that aren't Fox. So would say that for De'Aaron Fox at this point. He looks really good in the projections. I'm not quite buying the projection as much as Stokastic, I think, will. So Fox to me, if you had told me I had to choose between Towns, between Bridges, between Brunson, Towns, and Fox, I would choose Towns and Brunson for me a lot more frequently. I would say probably like 66% of the time I'd want those 2 guys more than Fox. I know it's kind of an arbitrary number. Basically, to me, I just don't think Fox is worth 50% ownership is the main thing to take away here. All right, let's sort by value. And that covers your top projected guys for the most part here. Of course, we will go game by game, so keep that in mind. What is the date? Good below. Again, it's all natural, guys. I talk fast. I don't know what the fuck you want from me, but really, it's bizarre to point it out when I'm doing these streams. Streaming in general for 7 years doing gambling content. Streaming on this channel for 4 months. Yes, I talk fast. It's a pretty known quantity. Jeremy Sohan looks like a better value to me, as I mentioned, because of not having Wemby in. People are going to play Biyombo today. Sohan has been playing backup center for the team. Doesn't make sense. He is listed as a center by DraftKings. He's not actually a center, but basically he is your backup center. So I'd expect him to get the most of, well, maybe not the most of minutes increase, but enough of minutes increase to be viable at 4,500. So we've got him today, 34% ownership for the field. We got pretty good projection for me, 27.4 compared to Stokastic's 25. I rounded up here. So Sohan at this point looks like your top value to me on the slate, in large part because I'm not as high on Elfrid Payton. As you can see, he's not even on the screen for me. Towns, despite the high price tag, still a top value for me. Bridges, despite the high price tag, a top value for me. Brunson, despite his high price tag, a top value for me. So you can see as a sort of reflection here on what a lack of value there is in the slate, of those guys being top values, even though they're obviously not value in the traditional sense. Chris Paul here, looking like another good value. The rates would look better if I did give these guys the entire Spurs year, basically without Wemby. The issue is when you throw Fox in, it does kind of move the equation around a lot. Basically, I would say that for Chris Paul, I think that he, Sohan, Castle to a lesser extent, these guys are all perfectly valid plays, but I don't know that one's appreciably better than the other. To me, it's like it's Fox and the other guys all look okay and they all kind of draw away from Fox, but I don't think any of them are a must-have. Chris Paul's going to be 33% owned. Sohan's going to be about 34% owned. I think that looks about right for these guys. They don't look like you want to die on the hill of either guy. I'm not really sold on that. It's my auditory timing, one of the most consistent known quantities. Thank you. I think that's a compliment. If not, I don't know what to tell you. But I appreciate the 7. Sotex has been here enough. I know he's heard my voice with enough frequency. Miles McBride looking like a good value here at a 4K salary. Basically, at this point for Miles McBride, he does get some minutes from Josh Hart being out. If he picks up the start in the past, it would be easier for him to get the start if you get Hart and Anunoby out. Because basically then it would have to be, honestly, that rotation is going to look like fucking a mess. Both those guys are out. But you'd have to get McBride and Achua starting, you would think. Because those guys normally are the ones that fill in for, one of Hart, one of Anunoby, one of Bridges being out. Not that Bridges ever misses. The other guys do miss enough. McBride, though, at 4K, not really a great player overall. 12% ownership here. That's sort of what it looks like. Trenton Watford coming up a good amount here because he's getting more minutes. The results, I guess, at this point of honestly, why is Watford coming up this much? Honestly, I can't really tell you why Watford's coming up this much. It is a short rotation for the Nets. Should be a 10-man rotation today because Killian Hayes is not technically available for the team, and you have a lot of other guys out. Some of the guys in the G League like Tosan Ebwomon and some of the other kind of bullshit Nets guys. Watford, to me, not really a good play in the traditional sense, but because there isn't value on the slate, I guess you either have to play Elfrid Payton or you have to play a McBride. You have to play a Watford. It's sort of what it looks like, but it's a lot of ownership for Watford. I don't feel great about it. And real fast here, I'm going to scroll down some more. So this is where I get Elfrid Payton. So Elfrid Payton, if you give him his rates for the entire year, where basically he's been averaging like 14% usage. Let me pull up the exact numbers here. And this is across, obviously, playing on the Pelicans, where he was like legit treated like a real player, and now on the Hornets, where he's not treated like a real player. He's had 14% usage, an 8% rebound rate, 41% assist rate. For court time for the Hornets so far this year, he's averaged about 8% usage, 6% rebound rate, and a 30% assist rate. So everything has been down for him. I think it's a big question today where do you trust Elfrid Payton and who he's been as a player for 10 years or whatever, however long he's been in the league. It feels like it's been 10 years at this point. It's probably longer than I would realize, or most people would realize. Do you think it's that Elfrid Payton you're getting, or are you getting the one on the Hornets? Because that's the big question for today's slate. He's going to become a lot chalkier than the 21% ownership Stokastic has for him. I don't honestly know why it's that low. The sim I ran, which again was Stokastic data, not mine, 100% of my lineups had Elfrid Payton in. So I think really what it is, if you don't play Bridges, if you don't play Nick Smith, if you don't play anybody, like really, and I would say any Hornet. If you don't play any Hornet besides Payton, I think Elfrid, then you could take that shot and have that be your play you go for. Like if you play Bridges, the assumption is going to be that he keeps doing what he's been doing and Elfrid Payton keeps doing what he's been doing. And at that point, Elfrid Payton's probably not really a play. And he could still get there with steals, whatever, like rebounding a little bit more, getting just a little bit more usage up. But like the rates for him are legit, like incredibly bad on the year for the Hornets. Let me see, because I actually don't even... I put in Elfrid's rates here. So he's averaged 0.6 fantasy points a minute. He's also been shooting 18% true shooting, which he won't do forever. And obviously, if a guy's shooting poorly, he's not going to put up more shots, so the usage won't get higher. But like your big decision on the slate, I think is going to end up being, do I play Elfrid Payton or not? I am currently leaning on not playing Elfrid Payton as much as the field. And I don't think this 21% number is correct. So maybe the Biyombo stuff works out the other way. Maybe Stokastic decides to give him 30 minutes, and the industry is like, oh, Bismack Biyombo must play. I don't know why they would, because he wasn't playing backup center before the break. And that would change things a little bit. But if they don't do that and they keep Biyombo around 20 minutes, he's just not going to look that good. And Elfrid Payton will look good. He's going to become a chalk play. So for Elfrid Payton right now, this is sort of what matters the most in the slate, besides the Bucks guys. Is Payton and just what he's going to do. And I tend to think, having watched Charlotte enough times, I just don't think he's playing like real Elf right now. Like, I think he's playing like he's being told, hey, don't get as many shots up. This is not your team. Just fucking chill and just get some assists. So that's your bet today. If you want to, and really a lot of sharp players would defer to the longer term sample size. So that's the trade-off I'm giving you here. If you want to ignore me on this one, play Elfrid Payton probably every lineup because it's going to be a good play. As your guy is going to take a lot of LaMelo Ball minutes. But I'm not sold that he gets a ton of minutes, and I'm also not sold that he's going to be good in those minutes. So that's where I am with Elfrid Payton for today. We talked about one before. It doesn't really matter that much. It's not in the data anyway, but I don't think it matters. For Boston here, so let's go game by game. Try to make some good time in this one because I do have to try to be on time today because I'm doing the deeper dive for Stokastic at 5 p.m. Eastern, so tune in there as well. We got Boston, 116.3 implied points. Really nothing looked that good here. Nobody projected for over 5% ownership. You probably need somebody out to look good in a down pace spot versus the Philadelphia team. That's certainly not good. Defensively here, you can see that 116 defensive efficiency rating that Philadelphia has given up. But Boston here having a full health roster, getting Drew Holiday back in. These guys took a little bit of a price jump from not having Drew in for a few games before the break. So Boston, to me, you want to take a tournament option, you can, but I really don't see any of them being good plays. Joel Embiid, I'm pretty low on today with Philadelphia and their 109.3 implied points. Embiid, I gave him the rate boost overall for court time that he's had in the past because that's basically the only way I get Embiid to project even decently okay. At this point, I would say for Embiid, if you want to chase him at 10K on this slate where Karl-Anthony Towns is going to be 50% owned, I think it's logical leverage to try to go to Embiid. But in terms of the projection, he projects legit 16 points less well for me than Karl Anthony Towns does. I would certainly go to Joel Embiid. Like if you're playing 150 and you're trying to just fade the field or whatever, but like Towns projects so much better to me, I would have to be willfully ignoring my own data, which I don't do. Like I play stuff based on my projections. My projections, now some of you guys can use it if you're paying for it, but like nobody else uses my data. So like I'm comfortable deferring to that. So I'm not going to outthink myself. I'll play Towns, but if you want to get clever, playing Embiid is certainly one way to do that because nobody's going to play him. Everybody else here, too expensive. Really, that's basically it. Nothing looks that good. Shocked Embiid is playing. Yeah, does this? I mean, the thing is, it's not a tough center matchup, but it is a tough matchup on paper. Probably one they would lose. But yes, it is a big pussy Joel Embiid matchup here. Memphis, 126.3 implied points. Really high total here. The issue for Memphis is that they're playing too many guys. Last game without Ja Morant before the break, they played 13 guys. That included a few blowout minutes. Here with Morant in, I think you're expecting about 12 guys to get some amount of minutes. That includes guys like Bagley here playing about 1 minute, which he might not play at all. But basically for Memphis, Desmond Bane coming up here. I'm not sold on that. I doubt I get it as much. Comparing my projection here, about 2 fantasy points lower than Stokastic. Really Memphis to me, really high total, good spot on paper. I think this is kind of a tournament-y spot to try to grab a piece from. For Morant, you're also getting a little bit of price leverage on a Brunson. But what are Ja Morant's minutes? He doesn't really get into the high 30s that often. And when he does, he seems to miss games after he does get there. Really don't know how you would play these guys just based off the projection stuff. But a high total, not a great defense going against them. Really both Memphis and Indiana. If this game went nuts here, people wouldn't play it. And it would be probably worth that ownership, obviously, because if you have outlier performances, like you have really high team totals here, so your chance of getting an outlier game from Morant or Jaren Jackson just isn't captured by what the median outcome is. Indiana on their side, a lot of Miles Turner coming in here. Don't think that's going to hold for me quite as much. Tyrese Halliburton, about 10% for the field, 15% for Siakam. Indiana's going to be appropriately owned here. So like you're getting, I think, a fair amount of Indiana. That feels about right. Definitely don't play Thomas Bryant with Miles Turner back in. Besides that, just the fact that Indiana's picking up some ownership, Memphis is picking up none. You have high totals on both sides. You have a big pace-up spot for Indiana. You can take shots here. I just don't think anybody looks that great. You basically have just like a good situation for both teams on paper, especially for Memphis, a high-paced team that doesn't play good defense. But because you have like really large rotations for both teams and nobody playing reliably, mid to high 30s minutes, I don't think anybody looks that great here. But again, a tournament option coming from here and winning, like it wouldn't shock me. It's just projection-wise, we're just not going to get there. Chicago, 116 implied points. New York, 128 implied points. Nikola Vucevic, as I've talked about enough times here, his rates are just not going up with Zach LaVine off the court, basically because you have Giddey, White, and Dosunmu, and then Lonzo Ball whenever he's in. And now, frankly, Bazelis, too, doing a little bit more usage-wise, even though he's only at 18% on the year. Now that you have all that kind of coming together, you are getting a little bit of a less upside situation for Vucevic. In a single game, he could still get there. Maybe going against Towns brings out something in him here. It's 7,700. But I'd rather have Towns the spot. Vucevic's rates just aren't good at this point. And really, like, somebody should look good because they really have been priced up for life without Zach LaVine, but nobody looks that good here. They're not playing that well. The total's not that great for Chicago. I don't really love the Bulls on this side, but with how much chalk there is on the New York side, you can play a Bull as a bring back, maybe, if you're playing a lot of Brunson and Towns. The Memphis over-under is damn near historic. I don't think it's near historic. You got New York as 128 in the same slate. So no, but it's a good total. New York on their side, 128 implied points. So a really high total here. So you have an above average total and you're missing Josh Hart. It's a big reason why you're getting so much Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson. If I really had to choose today, you told me I had to play Towns or Brunson. I do this a lot. If I had to play him 0% or 100%, I'd probably just put them at 100% and deal with the repercussions. They're too cheap is basically it. Like, they're absolutely very chalky here. 50 to 60% owned is a lot. But with how cheap they are for the situation, that total, the matchup against Chicago, as you can see here, pace up spot, not a good defense going against them. You should play Towns and Brunson a good amount here, but that's really all there is to it. Like, you should play him a good amount. How much you want to play him? If you want to get clever, get different from the field, you can. I would probably try to get different with the other spots more so. It's hard to imagine these guys failing today, barring injury, but risk aversion, all that, I get it. Precious Achua, 27 minutes, 27% ownership rather, 32-minute projection for him, assuming that he gets the big bump here with Josh Hart out. It is possible that you get McBride starting instead, which would kind of flip the minutes a little bit here. It would make McBride look like a better value. But Achua at 5,700, you're not really getting good value there, but you're getting a rotational guy who's averaging about 0.9 fantasy points per minute. Doesn't really get a big rate increase without Josh Hart, but does get to 0.95 fantasy points per minute, so that's not bad. I think Achua is an okay play because of Hart being out, but if he doesn't start, I'd probably go to McBride instead. All right, Orlando, 112 implied points here. Atlanta, 111. Getting Franz Wagner, 13% for the field. Banchero, 10%. Wendell Carter, 10%. No big stands here. It is a pace-up spot, soft defense. Orlando is so slow, and these guys are kind of appropriately priced. I think Franz looks okay in lineups. Banchero looks okay in lineups. Everybody else here, I don't really see it. You'll get some, I think, mixed in if you're putting in a full batch of lineups today, a 150 set. But Orlando, despite the nice matchup on paper, just don't look that good to me. Atlanta on their side, some really favorable, I think, markets out there for Trae Young. That said, Trae Young, the assist rate goes down, the usage comes up in court time without Jalen Johnson and Bogdan Bogdanovic and DeAndre Hunter, your key Hawks who are no longer available. So for Trae Young, I'm getting him lower with a 42.5 projection compared to Stokastic's 44.8. Trae Young, not a play I'm getting to today, but as a tournament play, it does seem like prop markets maybe support taking a shot here. I'm not sure why the position is off here. That's weird. Hold on. I have no idea why that would possibly be. So I would like to just check it real fast. You know, he's point guard on here. Everything else is right. The projection's right. I'll have to fix that somehow. I'm not sure why that's coming up like that. But anyway, Trae Young to me, not a center, not a good play here. I think it's probably pulling from the next line. Anyway, whatever. I'll figure it out after the show. For Trae Young, not a good play. I think on paper to me, but prop markets, take your shot if you want to get low owned here and maybe try to get leverage. You're paying up a lot to get over Brunson. I'd have Brunson projected better straight away, but again, tournament options here, Trae Young would be that. Dyson Daniels gains more of a boost as a result of not having the guys on the Hawks who are gone. Still not a great play to me at 7K, but you can take your shots. I have a 36.5 projection on him compared to 34.5 for Stokastic. Okongwu, the field's there. I'm not basically that. 18% for the field. Levert, 9%. Niang, 9%. These guys are okay plays. I think at this point, if you want to take a shot on them, you know, having outlier production, but really, like, you're facing Orlando here, so I'm not really sure what you're getting in that spot. Cleveland, I really got nothing here, so we could skim through it. If you get Ty Jerome out, if you get their other Q-tag guy out, maybe it would matter a little bit, but everybody's at shoot around, so Cleveland should be what it is at this point. Oh, good. Jakob Poeltl got ruled out for tomorrow, in case that matters. But yeah, at this point for Cleveland, they're priced appropriately. Hunter's coming in, taking some usage. I probably would not play Cleveland at this point. Yeah, it's just something that's off on the sheet. I'll figure it out later. As I said before, I'll figure it out later. We got Cam Johnson here. Project for 7% ownership. The Nets overall, your chalky play is only trending Watford. I am not a Trendon Watford fan, as I talked about earlier. I just don't think he's really a legit play. One thing I have been doing when I have to run stuff through an optimizer, use the solver sometimes for like quick turnaround stuff when I'm making lineups. I will sometimes take guys out of my player pool if they project for under 20. I think I have it as under 26 minutes or under 1.1 fantasy points a minute. Because usually those guys, like, they can be okay plays. Like an Asar Thompson would kind of fit that criteria where he's not a per-minute killer, but he does sometimes spike a few more minutes. You can miss some upside there. For Watford being this chalky, like, again, I guess I would take him more than Elfrid Payton. I do have him better projected than Elfrid Payton, but I don't think he's like a smash play. So Watford, highly owned here. It'll move around if you get any value that opens up at all. Clippers, 115.5 implied points. Milwaukee only a 3-point dog here, despite the Q tags on Giannis and on Lillard. The tag to me feels like one of those guys playing, the other sitting. Given that Giannis has been out since before the All-Star break, I would guess Giannis sitting would be more likely. If Giannis sits, Kuzma is going to be a smash play, I would think. Lillard becomes a better tournament play. I'm not sure that he becomes a chalk play at 9,500, but I think he's a good option. Kuzma, though, at 6,500 become more important. Really, though, as it is right now with Norman Powell in, I don't think the Clippers are really great plays. Getting Kawhi a little bit. Has been interrupted before the All-Star break, playing low 30s, so he's pretty good at 7,100. The per-minute production has also been coming up to about 1.1 fantasy points per minute, but nothing here for the Clippers looks like a must-have here. And you run the risk if Giannis is out, like they could just blow out the Milwaukee Bucks, I guess would be your sort of risk point here. More likely if you get Giannis and Lillard out, then it's maybe time to have some concern. But the 3-point spread, I think to me screams one of Giannis or Lillard being out. And if I had to guess, Giannis being out would be the way I would assume that would go. Milwaukee here currently with Giannis projected in. Nobody looks that good, but Kuzma will look better. I would say if you do get Giannis out. Charlotte on their side. And Kuzma is still playable as it is right now. Even if Giannis plays, Kuzma's playable because Portis being out just opens up a lot of minutes at the 4, and it's probably going to Kuzma's way. Shout out the super chat here. I appreciate it. Using Stokastic, single lineups in, 2 lineups. What? I can't tell you that, dude. Take the higher ROI one would normally be the move you should do. But I would say, honestly, when you're choosing lineups from a sim, you should really just try to choose lineups that get leverage somehow on chalk. Like you shouldn't just, I don't know. If you're choosing between 2 lineups after you've culled through a bunch, take the higher ROI one. If you're just choosing between all 10,000 lineups they give you, 5,000 lineups, try to parse it down better, but still take the highest ROI one. For Charlotte on their side, Miles Bridges, as I talked about here, going to be more of an important play for me with the projection I have, with LaMelo being out, with Mark Williams being out, of course, Miller being out for the rest of the year. But basically for Miles Bridges here, I think he's worth more exposure than 1%. I don't know if he'll be like in every lineup for me, but I will get him probably 25 to 50%, depending on how the rest of the slate looks by lock. Nick Smith, 20% ownership going his way. He does gain a rate uptick overall in court time without the guys that are not available for the Hornets. So you can go that way. He's not a must-have play by any stretch, but he would look like a better play, I think, in lineups where you're not playing Elfrid Payton. Elfrid Payton, as I've talked about, I gave him his Hornets rates. He doesn't look as good as a result for me, but Stokastic will probably put him in every lineup for you today. I would personally get less Elf no matter what, even if you love him as a play. The points projection is just your projected. It's just your projected points. I know that it sounds simplistic, but people might need to be told that it's literally just the projection. So if you're using a sim, you want to use the ROI stuff because that's what you're paying for. If you just want to use projections, just use an optimizer, and then that's what you would do. So for Peyton, I've talked enough about him. I'm not going to go that way as much today, but you certainly can. If he picks up the start, he's going to look like a great play, and you're probably more right than me if you defer to the longer-term sample size. I just think that's one way to get an edge in the slate, is being willing to not play Elfrid Payton today. Denver, Jokic, we talked about. He's a good play if you can get there. The value doesn't support it. Nothing else here looks good in Denver. Phoenix, nothing here looks great. Everybody under 10%. Bull, if he picks up the start, I don't know that he can at this point, but if he did, he would look a little bit better. But at this point, the rotation is fully stocked. You're getting Grayson Allen back in. You're getting Beal back in. Hard to see Bull getting the minutes, so I would let somebody else chase that today. San Antonio on their side, a lot of ownership coming here. As I've talked about, I do think that Vassell, Paul, Sohan, all very similar kind of plays. Fox, I'd put a tier above, but I don't think Fox is like a must-have play on the slate. I'd rather find the $500 and pay up for Brunson if you can. Fox in court time without Wemby hasn't taken a big enough jump up. His rates are actually lower than what he had in Sacramento, so if that helps you make the decision, then know that. But really for Fox, he could be a great play today, or he could just have kind of an average Fox day while Vassell, Paul, Barnes, Sohan, Keldon Johnson all pick up some more usage. And I think I would tend to believe that side of things a little bit more. That Fox is like pretty good, gets you 40 to 45, but I don't know that he gets you 60, and you might need 60 on the slate given his price tag. Lakers, we got Luka ruled out and also Vanderbilt ruled out. That'll open up more minutes for Finney Smith, maybe a little bit more for Alex Len / Jackson Hayes. It's a look a little bit better for the Lakers later on when the data is updated. But Luka being out, I think makes LeBron playable, makes Reeves playable, but neither's going to look like a great play because, frankly, they're not appropriately priced anyway for the situation with having Luka in. Not must-haves to me on the slate, though. In Portland here, you have 8 now, and somehow nobody looks good. Another situation where you have a deep rotation here. Nobody gains a whole lot from Ayton getting out because you have Klingon and Williams splitting minutes at center. You can take a shot at one of those guys. You can take a shot at one of the wings, but none of them project that well. And that's slate, guys. So again, we're going to hop to the world of betting now with Unabated. Before we do that, one quick pander. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe. It all goes a long way for me here, trying to get to our first 1,000 subs. Wanted to do it before the All-Star break. Now we couldn't pull it off, but we're close enough now. We'll hit it soon. So please hit the like and subscribe. And please do join down below as well. $4.99 if you want to get access to the Discord. Get in there. If you want my data, you can see the same data I have on screen, updated throughout the night. Actually, here's the exact version of it you get. So you don't get the Stokastic stuff, no ownership, no sim stuff, because I don't run it all the time at night anyway. None of their projections, but my projection, minutes, all the data points, you get that for yourself. And then, of course, if you want to export my data, same thing here. So check it out. Before we talk about me, let's go to Unabated right now. I don't know why I zoomed in. Let's go to Unabated. Let's click this video and learn more about their conditional NBA projections right now. Oh, you got those drums going. That means we're back. Conditional NBA projections. Rule guys in, rule guys out. See the data, the betting markets for all the above here with Unabated. Make sure to check it out for yourself. Great tool. And people are winning a lot of money with Unabated. They track their data, unlike some of the betting stuff you're going to see on social media. And the results have been speaking for themselves. Of course, we got coming up here. Graphs, simulate your data out. Look at the graphs to see the distributions therein. Or just look at the pretty graphs and feel good about yourself. That's what you can do. And expert game day live streams, they compete against me, so you don't have to look at that if you don't want. Count your money with Unabated. Great partner here in the channel, and they have some new deals going as well, including this one. You can see Unabated, only $499, which sounds like a lot, but legitimately, if you are betting every single day here, doing what you're supposed to do, getting in there 30 minutes before tip-off, taking all their EV bets, 5% or higher, you'd be winning at this point in the year about $40,000. That's not bullshit numbers. I'll show you the graph in a moment here. But their deal right now, it's basically $125 a month for the entire rest of the NBA season. Use promo code SPLASH on there, and that'll also do the same thing for you. But check out the link in the description. Check out Unabated. You also see some testimonials down here. I think they put them in somewhere. I don't know. They had testimonials somewhere in here. Basically, this is what you're getting with Unabated. It's a great tool, a great product, and a great team as well that if you are tired of losing, tailing idiots on various platforms out there, then you will do a lot better for yourself using industry-leading data from Unabated, and that's the best cosign I can give you here. If you've waited, if you've watched this video for 3 months and didn't try it out, now's the time to do it. Let's go to Unabated, though, and check them out ourselves. Give you grass to give you death. There you go. The background channel. You notice different things with the song every day. And here's just for the sake of completion here. Here's where your earnings would be. Safely over $40,000 if you bet 5% or higher edges, $100 units, 30 minutes before tip-off. So they don't pull any bullshit here. That is all back-tested data. All right, let's do our usual bet simulations with the conditional projections. So guys, we're not going to have available today, or teams are not going to have available Giannis Q-Tag, OG Anunoby Q-Tag, Jeremy Grant, Scoot Q-Tags, LeBron Q-Tag, Lillard Q-Tag, Norman Powell Q-Tag. So those teams won't be in the bet data here. Let's go to points first. All right, here we go. That is a legit ROI. Again, it's like a over 7% ROI over the course of all the bets. And look, the main thing it's really important to know is people want it to be just like you place one bet, you call it a day. Reality, you should be placing probably, if you're going to be the most EV chasing in your life, you should be placing like a fucking 100 bets a day. Honestly, more. I know Laffy and Greg and those guys at Stokastic with OddsShopper are placing upwards of 300 bets at a given day. That's how you achieve that ROI, is taking all the data, letting it work together as a combined force. It's like going with, taking one bet off of Twitter is like a droplet compared to a fire hose of sort of what you're getting when you put a lot of bets down. And that's it sounds like I'm trying to grift you to get you to paper. This is really the most important thing in betting. Volume will show whether you're a good bettor or not. Anybody could flip a coin 10 times and get the result. So just keep that in mind. And your top bets right now for points scored on Unabated data. And of course, you get a whole lot more for yourself at Unabated by checking it out. Again, link in the description down below, 20% off. Drew Holiday, 25.2% ROI over 7.5 points. The higher on Underdog looks good to add to a pick'em here. It looks like you don't want anywhere else. So Drew Holiday over 7.5 points on Underdog if you can get it. Higher on Underdog, that is. Sam Hauser under 5.5 points, 19.2% EV. That one's at plus 105 odds at DraftKings Sportsbook. Also bettable on PrizePicks, 7.5% EV there. And looks like the Hauser line has gotten pulled on Underdog and FanDuel. So Sam Hauser on DraftKings Sportsbook and PrizePicks. Take it under 5.5 points. Lonzo Ball over 7.5 points today, 14.1% EV at minus 125 odds on FanDuel Sportsbook. Bettable on DraftKings as well, where it's 12.1% EV at minus 130 odds. And good to go on PrizePicks, over 8 points for Lonzo Ball there. So Lonzo over 7.5 or 8 points on PrizePicks, DraftKings, FanDuel. Jason Tatum under 26.5 points, minus 115 odds on DraftKings Sportsbook gets you 11.9% EV. Also good to go on PrizePicks and Underdog, 10.6% EV. And yes, the full Grand Slam, it's on FanDuel too. So all of our primary betting/DFS apps, you can take Jason Tatum under 26.5 points. Tyrese Maxey under 25.5 points. You got Embiid in. The line's probably a little bit overpriced as a result. 11.7% in EV today, and a tough match versus Boston too for Maxey. So under 25.5 points, 11.7% EV, and that is on DraftKings, your best bet. Still going to go on PrizePicks, Underdog, and FanDuel. So another little grand slam here. All four for Tyrese Maxey under 25.5 points. Peyton Pritchard over 9.5 points, 11.2% EV for him today. A little surprised to see there being EV on the over, but maybe a little bit mispriced. Because of having Drew Holiday back in, I guess. Peyton Pritchard, though, over 9.5 points. Good to go on FanDuel. Good to go on DraftKings. Good to go on PrizePicks. Not an Underdog, though, where they pulled that line. And Kristaps Porzingis, our last points bet here. Of course, there's a ton more, but I'm only showing you the top ones on the first screen. So you have some reason to go pay for Unabated and go check it out. Get that volume up. We got Kristaps Porzingis under 19.5 points. Minus 115 odds on DraftKings Sportsbook gets you 11% EV. And you can bet that on FanDuel as well, where it's 7.4% EV for FanDuel Sportsbook, plus 100 odds under 19.5. I should know, under 18.5 there. Okay, there we go. That works. Rebounds. I did see that on my For You page. Yeah, DK. I mean, honestly, the thing that I find a little bit tedious about the Twitter betting guys always dunking on the idiot ones is like, we get it. Like, I think people who know betting know that like the idiots are idiots. And I think they get off a little too much and being like, oh, like, ha ha ha, this guy doesn't know betting. But it's like, I don't know how you do it otherwise. Good for them, I guess. It is really just a fucking mess. Twitter is a mess in general, but Twitter is a mess for the betting scene right now. 19.5% EV for De'Aaron Fox, over 4 rebounds today. More rebounds to go around without Wemby out there would be your game logic for that. Good to go on PrizePicks with that 19.5% EV. Looks like it's not available on Underdog, DK, or FanDuel, so PrizePicks only De'Aaron Fox over 4 rebounds if you can get it. Nikola Jokic under 12.5 rebounds, also good to go on PrizePicks. So we got a PrizePicks Pick'em brewing here. 16% EV on PrizePicks under 12.5 rebounds. DraftKings Sportsbook, you're also getting under 12.5 on there for 11% EV. FanDuel, 13% EV for under 12.5. So Jokic under 12.5 rebounds. I don't like taking a Jokic under, but especially against Charlotte. I really don't feel comfortable with that one. But the EV's the EV. You're much better off just going like, just fucking take all of them. And that's like, and again, that's me being smart about it. Like, because your personal biases are never going to win you that much money as just betting every good bet that you can from good data. And that's the unfortunate reality of betting, but that's the truth of betting. Mohamed Gay, over 3.5 rebounds, 12.5% EV on FanDuel Sportsbook. You probably don't want anywhere else for Mo Gay. Get Mo Gay with me here, over 3.5 rebounds here on FanDuel Sportsbook. We all get a little Mo Gay sometimes. Wendell Carter, 6.5 rebounds. 11. It's a joke, guys. Don't get all weird about it. 11.2% EV. I do love Mo Gay as a player, though. Wendell Carter under 6.5 rebounds for Wendell Carter Day, 11.2% EV on FanDuel Sportsbook. You can bet it on DraftKings where it's 5% EV, but take it on FanDuel if you can. That's just a much better line. Clint Capella under 7 rebounds. Good to go on PrizePicks, 11.1% EV. They basically haven't wanted to play him, so taking an under feels pretty good today. For Clint Capella, back in the rotation, one would assume today. Nick Richards, we got 10% EV under 9.5 rebounds there. For Nick Richards on DraftKings Sportsbook at minus 135 odds. You can also take Nick Richards on PrizePicks where it's under 9 rebounds there, getting you 8% EV. But Nick Richards, good wherever you can get it. Just seems like that's only DraftKings and PrizePicks. And Jeremy Sohan over 6.5 rebounds. Like I mentioned, he's basically your backup center for the Spurs. And if I had to guess, I think he gets the start. And if he doesn't get the start, he probably plays a lion's share of minutes at the as a 5. You know, he's absolutely not a 5. Jeremy Sohan, over 6.5 rebounds, good to go on PrizePicks and Underdog. Not available on your regular sports books, but it gets you 9% EV on PrizePicks and Underdog. Assists coming up next. I'm always very, very clever with my double entendres around players whose last name is Gay. We lost Rudy Gay, so we got to get a new Gay in. All right. Nikola Jokic. Wow, another under for Jokic. Nikola Jokic under 10.5 assists, 15.6% EV on DraftKings Sportsbook. Actually, you could bet Jokic on all of them. PrizePicks, Underdog, FanDuel, DraftKings. Under 10.5 on all of them for Jokic, and they're all good. So Jokic, take that bet. Looks like one of your better bets on the day. Nikola Jokic under 10.5 assists. Jamal Murray under 5.5 assists, 14.7% EV on DraftKings. Also looking good on FanDuel under 5.5 there. And PrizePicks, you get 12.9% EV under 6. So Jamal Murray is under on assists, under 6, under 5.5, all good to go. Russell Westbrook under 5.5 assists, back in the lineup here. PrizePicks wants you to, or doesn't want you to. They probably don't want you to take this one, but 11.1% EV on PrizePicks under 5.5. Good to go on FanDuel as well for Russell Westbrook under 5.5 there at minus 122. You probably don't want it on DraftKings though at minus 140. And that's the importance of line shopping here. Losing about 6% EV for a difference in, $18. So just keep that in mind. Bradley Beal here, 10.9% EV for PrizePicks, under 3.5 assists for him. You can bet it on DraftKings and FanDuel too. So Bradley Beal under 3.5 assists, good to go. Cole Anthony under 3.5, 9% EV on DraftKings, not good anywhere else. Jonathan Isaac under 0.5 assists, so no assists for him. Good to go on PrizePicks, 8.4% EV. And De'Aaron Fox over 5.5 assists. No matter what, having Wemby out is going to lead to more time with the ball in his hands. So you take the Fox over here, 8.4% EV for the higher for Fox on 5.5 assists on Underdog. Last but not least, PRAs. Let's sim that. Used to play Rudy Gay and say we're getting more gay. Now we could say actually Mo Gay. That's true. We can, and it'll be his name, and so he won't be offended at all by it, I presume. Tell you what, Mo Gay plays. Yeah, they could all be Mo Gay if they play like him on a court. Just trying to fucking siphon up every stat possible. That's what we like to see. This is crazy EV for Keldon Johnson. Keldon Johnson over 9.5 PRAs on PrizePicks would just be mispriced if that's still available. 63% EV for Keldon Johnson over 9.5 PRAs on PrizePicks. Julian Champagny, 30.6% EV for him on PrizePicks over 8.5. If these lines are still up, these should be the first bets you take today if you're betting on PrizePicks. Mason Plumlee under 10.5 PRAs, 21.7% EV. That one's only on Underdog for the lower on 10.5 PRAs. Stephon Castle, 16.4% EV under 23.5 PRAs. That's on FanDuel Sportsbook for minus 111 odds. Still could bet it on DraftKings as well under 22.5 PRAs for Stephon Castle. Julian Strawther over 10.5 PRAs. Surprised to see the over for him, but maybe Westbrook doesn't get all of his minutes back on day one. 14.8% EV for Strawther over 10.5. Good to go on PrizePicks and Underdog. That's PRAs for Strawther over 10.5 points plus rebounds plus assists. Nikola Jokic under 50.5 PRAs. The under here, 14.2% EV on under 50.5 on FanDuel. That is surprising. You could actually take Jokic lines on PrizePicks, Underdog, DraftKings, and FanDuel, whether it's 49.5 or 50.5. You can take Nikola Jokic, all of that. Rudy Gay is a UConn gay. That's true. Dyson Daniels, we got of the famous UConn gay family. Dyson Daniels under 25 PRAs. Good to go on PrizePicks, 12.9% EV. Still bettable on Underdog, 7% EV there. FanDuel looking okay. Dyson Daniels under 25. You can take it pretty much anywhere you can get it. Under 24.5, maybe a little bit less so. Those are your bets, guys. Again, there's a lot more bets getting updated, and what you should be doing 30 minutes before tip-off, going unabated, grabbing as many bets as humanly possible, adding them to your card, whatever sportsbook you have. You can choose other ones here. I only show the primary ones that I know everybody has access to, but you can just get Bet Rivers stuff. You can get fucking Fanatics. You get whatever lines you want in here from Unabated and just get your markets there. So make sure to check it out for yourself. It is a great tool, great product, and if you're tired of losing money, frankly, just using market data is a lot easier way to do this shit. Like that's again, it's not glamorous. It's a lot being like a fucking guy with a pickaxe, just trying to do the work. But like that is what you're going to win money doing. Let's go to Stokastic. Looks like the updated projections at 430. So thank them. God forbid it could have been 330. That would have been helpful for me. Let's see what Stokastic has here. And guys, one last call to arms here. Please subscribe down below, hit the like button, leave a comment. Of course, I'm doing these videos every Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. whenever there is a slate, a multi-game slate, which is pretty much every Monday to Friday here at 4 p.m. And of course, doing the best I can, showing you my data, comparing to Stokastic stuff, comparing it to unabated stuff, trying to find the middle ground here, checking myself along the way as any good gambler should do, hopefully. But that's what we're doing here every day. So check it out. Hit the like button, subscribe. It goes a long way for me here. There's one guy running an NBA channel, running an NFL channel, and the work is doesn't slow down for both of them, unfortunately. And of course, trying to improve things too. Bigger screens, what we try to do here. You got the Discord memberships. Please fucking join the channel too. I didn't promote it as well as I probably could today, but join, get access to a Discord, or get access to my data. If you want one of them, check it out. Enough of you fuckers ask, so please. I figured if I get like 10 signups paying the full freight, we'll be good. But you know, whatever. Check it out. Join down below. Yes. Robert Griffin III paid me immediately. So yes, pay the man his money. Get a badge for yourself. VIP chats. At a certain point, there's going to be members on this channel, guys, like there's an NFL, and I'm going to prioritize them more. So please join. Join. That's probably, I'm talking too fast. People think I'm scamming them. Fucking talking about, of course I talk fast. Talk fast every fucking day. I'm trying to slow down. It's not going to ever happen. Ugh. Even weed can't slow me down. Nothing can. Let's see what the sim gives us here, and I'm going to hop to Stokastic. I'm going to go get my AirPods. This is going to be a quick run to the sim, guys, though, because I am behind schedule here. All the new shit. Oh, Sperry, that's inappropriate. That's inappropriate. I've only known I'm Chinese or part Chinese for less than a year, but I'm offended by that one. All right. There we go. See, so other people get it. It's if you can talk fast but be like understood, I think that's you're okay. If you talk fast, nobody can understand you. That's where we run into some issues. But I've been there too. Your top projected lineups right now. We got Jalen. Oh, wait, no, not that. So we're sorting by ROI here. So the guy who asked before, yes, you should be sorting by ROI for using a sim. Jalen Brunson, Cam Payne, Nick Smith, Precious Achua, Nikola Vucevic, Elfrid Payton, Paolo Banchero, De'Aaron Fox. Your number 2 ROI lineup is a Trae Young, Cam Payne, Benedict Mathurin, Precious Achua, Miles Turner, Elfrid Payton, LeBron getting in here. Onyeka Okongwu, I presume they accounted for Luka being out. Jalen Brunson at number 3 again. Brunson, Fox, LeBron, Isaac, Jonathan Isaac, that is, Onyeka Okongwu, Elfrid Payton, Precious Achua, and Yusuf Nurkic. I am shocked by the lack of Towns here. I am absolutely shocked. Towns, to me, is like the best play in the slate. The field might think that too, but Stokastic does not seem to agree. Number 4, we have Elfrid Payton, Cam Payne, LeBron, Jonathan Isaac, Yusuf Nurkic, De'Aaron Fox, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Nikola Jokic. And at number 5, we have Halliburton, De'Aaron Fox. We have Nick Smith, Pascal Siakam, Nikola Vucevic, Elfrid Payton, Devin Vassell, and Yusuf Nurkic. You throwing a party for 1K subscribers? I hadn't thought about it. Honestly, I thought I would have hit it already. But man, maybe we could do a drunk show or something, I guess, if that's what people want to see. You tell me, especially if you're joining the channel. Please let me know. We got Cam Payne here. Cam Payne, your highest ROI guy for Stokastic. I don't get that. I don't agree, and I don't get it. Onyeka Okongwu, 5% ROI, number 2. Nikola Vucevic at number 3 at 3% ROI. Jordan Goodwin, number 4. Obviously, there's minutes to go around for the Lakers, but I don't know that Jordan Goodwin ends up your big winner. Elfrid Payton at number 5, LeBron at number 6, Jokic at number 7. Yeah, hopefully not one of the 15-game slates because I would just give up. Your top ROI guys, your top exposure guys, rather. We just looked at top ROI guys. Top exposure guys from Stokastic's top 150 lineups. We got Elfrid Payton, Cam Payne. Big stands on both these guys. 2x the field and Elfrid Payton. More than 3x on Cam Payne. De'Aaron Fox, you're with the field, but getting 55%. LeBron getting 45%. Achua 44. Nurkic 40. Brunson 37% rounded up. Your highest leverage guys, Cam Payne, Elfrid Payton, LeBron, Okongwu, Achua, Vucevic, Nurkic. Your lowest leverage guys, Sohan, Bol, Jalen Brunson. So they're still fading Brunson. Brunson was in so many top lineups. All right, so they're low on Brunson, low on Turner, low on Chris Paul, low on Kobe White, low on Simons, and the guy I care about, negative 4% leverage on Towns. All right, agree to disagree on this one. I'm going to give my splash plays for the day, guys. Before I do, one quick run, Unabated. Check it out. Link in the description. Save money. Get in there. Get better at betting. Stokastic, 15% off. Link in the description as well. And, of course, Underdog, $1,000 in bonus cash. Link in the description for them, too. All of its promo code SPLASH. Check it out. And make sure to join down below. $4.99. You want the new Discord? You want my data? You have ways to do all that. So check it out down below. Join, please. Brand new join membership here. You get a cool little avatar on the channel. What more do you want? So please, splash plays for the day for me. Towns, Brunson, that's it. That's that. Bridges, another pay up option to go to that I have higher projected. What else? Let me look at my ranks one more time here. In terms of value, I will say not playing Elfrid Payton, I think, is unfortunately going to be a pretty big stand for me. So I would throw that in as well. Anybody else in terms of pay up options? I think Fox, the more that we've talked about the slate, I think he's worth his ownership. I don't think he's worth going every lineup, but I think that would be it. So I would say Brunson, Towns, Bridges, Fox being core plays for me today, no matter what, would be it. And I think besides that, I really have concerns about Elfrid Payton. So that's a slate, guys. Make sure to gamble responsibly, even though it's money time here. Always follow me at Chris Spags. Follow the show at Splash Play NBA. Back tomorrow with more. Hopefully, I'll be a little bit less flustered because I'll have less new things to deal with in a given day. There's a lot of shit to get right here between everything that's new. But I appreciate you guys being here. Check out Stokastic in a minute. See you guys there. Enjoy your days and good luck. And bye-bye.